May 29th, 1453 AD, the fall of Constantinople. On May 29th, 1453 AD, the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, Constantinople, fell to the Ottoman Turks after a nearly 2-month siege of the city. After several hours of fighting, the overwhelming numbers of the Ottoman Turk invaders were too much for the tired, weary, and outnumbered defenders, who either retreated, fell from exhaustion, or were slaughtered where they stood. The final death knell for the morale of the defenders came from when the leader of the walls of Constantinople defenders, Giovanni Giustiniani, was gravely wounded in the Ottoman Turks' final assault. He was taken away by his fellow Genoese mercenaries as they retreated from the battle. He would die a couple of days later from his wounds on the island of Chios. With the retreat of the Genoese mercenaries, most of the foreign soldiers began to flee the city as well, leaving the Eastern Roman soldiers to fight the thousands upon thousands of invaders that began to pour into the city. Emperor Constantine rallied his personal guard to make a suicidal charge against the Janissaries horde. One eyewitness said that the emperor took off his imperial regalia and personally led the final charge into the bloody melee and disappeared. As the Turkish soldiers stormed the city, stomping out the last of the resistance from the city's defenders, Mehmed II and his entourage entered the city as the soldiers began their 3 days of mayhem, loot, and plunder. The Sultan sent soldiers to protect several buildings to be spared from the looting, including the Church of the Holy Apostles, which was going to be used to house the next Christian patriarch of the city. To the victors came the spoils, as they took anything of value from the destitute city, but the only thing of worth was slaves, so a majority of the civilians were taken to be sold into slavery, while the streets were flowing with the blood of defender and invader alike. According to eyewitnesses, the bodies of the Turks and Christians floated in the sea like melons along a canal. Many of the civilians were found seeking refuge in the churches within the city. The largest was Santa Sophia, and they were forcibly dragged out by the Ottoman troops. The women, young and old, were raped by the soldiers, and the elderly men were killed on the spot. The rest were taken as slaves. After the building was emptied, Mehmed ordered the old church to be converted into a mosque. After 2 days of looting and plundering, Mehmed had the third day canceled due to there was nothing left to take. After he made an announcement that those who were lucky to escape the wrath of the soldiers could return to their homes without the threat of being kidnapped or sold into slavery, but many had no homes to return to. According to Eastern Roman historian George Frontes, on the third day after the fall of our city, the Sultan celebrated his victory with a great joyful triumph. He issued a proclamation. The citizens of all ages who had managed to escape detection were to leave their hiding places throughout the city and come out into the open, as they were to remain free and no question would be asked. He further declared the restoration of houses and property to those who had abandoned our city before the siege. If they returned home, they would be treated according to their rank and religion as if nothing had changed. When news of the fall of Constantinople reached Rome, Pope Pius II called for another crusade and said, "In the past, we have received our wounds in Asia and Africa, in foreign countries. This time, however, we are being attacked in Europe, in our land, in our home. You will protest that the Turks moved from Asia to Greece a long time ago, that the Mongols established themselves in Europe, and the Arabs occupied parts of Spain, having approached through the Straits of Gibraltar. We have never lost a city or a place comparable to Constantinople." The decapitated head of Constantine XI was allegedly given to Mehmed II, who said, "Fellow soldiers, this one thing was lacking to make glory of such a victory complete. Now, at this happy and joyous moment of time, we have riches of the Greeks. We have won their empire, and their religion is completely extinguished. Our ancestors eagerly desire to achieve this. Rejoice now, since it's your bravery which has won this kingdom for us." Mehmed ordered the head to be skinned, stuffed with bran, and sent as a symbol of victory to the governors of Persia and Arabia in order to remind them that it was a Turk who did this, what for centuries they could not.